I need to light this anyway. Are you gonna let one of the kiddos do it, or are you gonna do it? Okay. So hopefully this will stay lit.
They're not very tall.
Right. Well, then as an adult, you'll find it pretty easy because all you're gonna do is light this from there. Don't smooch it because it'll go out if you push on the.
Okay.
But if you just hold it, it'll spark up,
Okay.
and then you place it there.
Were you here this Sunday that they
I was not,
fire?
but
Okay.
I have a fire blanket now, so that we can.
We were here that Sunday,
But-
so I think I'm a little more apprehensive than I used to be.
It won't do that, but if it were to, another thing that happened was
Yeah, that's what we figured.
many things, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
I'm gonna do it for you just because you guys.
And then you can watch it or here, why don't you practice? Yeah, you sure can, and but let me tell you something. So you look and see how tiny the little black part is, the wick part. So you don't push it because it'll go out. So just let this light up. Put it on the fire part. And now you just put it there. Now you take this all the way over here and blow it out. Don't blow it towards that, see, or else. Isn't that easy? Thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. when I'm looking at it, I don't confuse.
I know, it's kind of a tricky one.
Well, I love it. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, I
Right
do
here.
too. Yeah, so like the letters R, E, L. Perfect. Amazing.
All right.
Thank you so much. And what was your name?
I'm Reverend Audette.
Reverend Audette.
Yeah.
It's really nice to meet
I'm
you.
so glad you're here.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're here. That's like the last time I was here, there was a huge turnout, and I'm like, I mean, it's great. Somebody's here for a while. Yeah, that's the so, yeah. Well, thank you.
Good morning. You know, when you play the gong and people don't settle down, that means there's a lot of wonderful energy in the space. Am I right? It's so good to see you. And we're going to be talking about the fullness of this space in just a moment. But before I jump to that, welcome. Happy New Year. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever spirit of loving connection called you here today, you are so very welcome. We're really glad that you're here. And a special welcome and greeting to those of us who are joining online. And I just want to mention, we actually have a group at Givens who are getting together on Sundays to join us virtually, which we love. So hi, Givens friends. We remember you. We love you. So before we begin, obviously, we always want to give a special thank you to the people who make this place and this time possible. So, of course, Dr. Les. Jess is over there on tech. You've been seeing a lot more of her. All the folks who are ushers, greeters, Reverend Claudia, who was leading a breakfast with a group of her leaders, the folks who serve in religious education, everyone who makes this place possible. So we give a special thank you. And so as you know, Vinnie has retired. She's officially retired now, which we're joyful and really sad about in equal measure. So we are operating a little bit without a net until even though we're actively in the interview process for our new connections coordinator. But that means that some of the processes for getting our Sunday mornings organized may not be as organized for the next couple of weeks. And for example, when I was checking today, I didn't see anyone signed up to clean up the coffee. So if anyone can lend a hand today, that would be really helpful. And I'm personally very grateful. I know, and you made the coffee, so they're the Millers. Yes, that's what we love to hear. Woohoo! But that's the kind of thing that really is all that makes this place possible. But as you look around, and maybe you were here on Christmas Eve and you saw that we had folks sitting in all the aisles while we had fire, that was really very impactful. And we love the fact that this place is just overflowing with energy and folks who want to be here. But we want to make sure that we create space for everyone. And so hopefully you have seen in the weekly email, if you didn't, go back and read your weekly email. It comes out on Thursdays. But in February, we're going to be moving to 2 services. It's time to do that, right? Yes. At 9:15 a.m., we're going to have a slightly shorter, between 40 and 45 minutes, more contemplative version of the service. At that time, there will be child care. It'll be, there's going to be a lot more space for reflection and silence. It will have the same sermon and theme as the 11:15 service, so we're moving this 15 minutes. And in between, from 10 to 11, we're going to have our formal coffee hour, but also sometimes programs and conversations that are adult ed based and things like that. So there'll be a lot of activity in between. Now, after the 11:15 service, there's still time for social, if you want to socialize afterwards. We're not making it a formal coffee hour, so any coffee will just be what's left over from coffee hour. Unless a group of you feel passion and you organize a second coffee hour, which we won't object to. But I just want to make sure that's on your radar and to encourage you to do two things. At some point, give the first service a try. Come see what it's like. See if you like it. See how it feels for you. Recommend it to others. And the other thing is to give that 10, even if you plan to come to the 11:15, come at 10. Have some coffee, see what's happening with the adult programming that happens in between as well. The religious education program and other things that have been happening during this hour continue to happen at the 11:15 hour, just to give you a sense. So with that news, I want to invite you now to look around. And are you guys comfortable there? If you can, scooch in. And if you have a space beside you, maybe raise your hand so that folks who are standing can find a seat. All right. If you want to make yourself more comfortable, we got to make room. And there is a little room over here on this side. If you want to come, there's plenty of seats over here because our choir isn't here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just, be aware, you'll have to look either, this screen is offline today, so if you need to see, you can look at that screen, or you probably can't look at this screen if you're sitting there, but you can look at that one. All right, so everyone, take a deep breath. Allow yourself to be present. Open your hearts as we hear our opening music. As you can see, it's just me here today, although I am about to be joined by the Spainauer family, who's going to help us with our chalice lighting. We don't have a worship associate this morning, even though we have a lot of worship associates. So I apologize in advance that it's a little bit the Reverend Audette show, but, oh, look at that, it's still there. But you know what we're going to do, just in case? I'm going to light this. Do you want to light it from my mouth? Go for it. Can you? No, sweetie. Use your match. Before it goes, oh no! It's a test for us. There you go. As we light our chalice, these are the words of Ted Loder, who invites us to remember this. Empower me to be a bold participant rather than a timid saint in waiting, in the difficult ordinariness of now. To exercise the authority of honesty rather than defer to power or deceive to get it. To influence someone for justice rather than impress others for gain. And by grace, to find treasures of joy, friendship, and peace hidden in the fields of the daily. Thank you. Will you all join us now in singing our opening hymn? It's number 18 in the hymnals, but you'll see it on the screens. What wondrous love is this? And I invite you to rise to the peak of your physical or spiritual power to sing together. Well, hello to each of you. Hi this morning. So I have a quick question for you. Did anyone at all have any fun this holiday season? Anyone? Anyone? How many of you had fun this holiday season? Good. It looks like mostly. Is this someone new or is this a longtime friend? Somebody else's friend. Oh, gotcha. Well, I'm glad you're holding. I can see. Well, who knows this author? I have shared at least once. Yep, I love it. This is one of my favorite authors, Shel Silverstein. And I'm going to share a couple of things with you today that I found really fun just to get us started this new year. Now, this one doesn't have much in the way of a picture, just a candle, but it says this. It's an invitation. What is an invitation? What is it? What is it?
Like an invitation could be like if someone like says to you that you can come.
Yeah. An invitation is like when someone says to you, you could come over. This is what this is. You got it exactly right. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. And see, that's what we want this place to be like, a place for a lot of people with a lot of different ideas and dreams. And so I thought we might start the new year with that little poem. But I have another one, too, that I like to maybe think about when we think about this place. This one's called Magic, and it has 0 pictures, not even a candle. So you have to paint the picture in your head, okay? This one's called Magic. Sandra's seen a leprechaun. Eddie touched a troll. Laurie danced with witches once, and Charlie found some goblin's gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing. Susie spied an elf. But all the magic I have known, I've had to make myself. Has anybody here ever made any magic? Anyone? Yeah. Some people behind you are saying they have. Maybe one day you will if you feel like you haven't yet. And we're going to do one last one. It's page 30. Page 30 is not marked. It does have a little bit of a picture. So it has, can anybody see what this picture is? It's a worm. And what's this over here? A bird. Okay. And the ground, right. And the bird is kind of coming close to the ground and the worm's sticking up out of a hole. All right. And this is called the early bird. The last one before it's time for you guys to head off to religious education. Oh, if you're a bird, be an early bird and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. If you're a bird, be an early bird. But if you're a worm, sleep late. Well, anyway, I hope that your new year is off to a great start. What we're going to do now is the folks in here are going to sing to you as you head to your religious education classes. If you are a parent whose kiddo is relatively new, please go with them for right now so you can meet their teachers, find out where to pick them up by 12:30, and otherwise have a wonderful morning, friends. Anybody want to shift or move over? All right. Isn't it a joy to see our families and our kiddos as they get together for this new year? I want to invite you now just to take another few deep breaths. I guess you probably know that if you're ever feeling a little tight or tense, just 3 deep breaths can reset your nervous system. So refresh yourself as we prepare. And if someone could close these doors, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Look at that, see? Ask and ye shall receive. This morning, this meditation or prayer was written by Julian Soto. It's called A Charm for Hope, a String. This is a charm for hope. The first thing to do is tie a string around your finger. Remember that you are not alone. Think of the ways that our best shared futures are braided inextricably with your own present and your destiny. The second thing is to untie the string and let the knots and tightness fall away. Let the burden of bleakness roll off your sore shoulders. Resistance on these opaque horizons only requires one source of strength, one ray of light. Remember that persistence doesn't require all the answers up front, only one. Fortunately for all of us, we have one response: to remain together through awkward times and happy ones. We remember and we find our resolve in one another. May it be so. And now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. What we're going to do is something that's fairly familiar to many of you. We have a vessel now. We've changed it just a little bit. Instead of 2 vessels, there's just one. I'm going to sprinkle some flowers. I'm going to do it on one side. You may notice that. The flowers represent the joys, the satisfactions, the connections that we have. And then on the other side, I'll sprinkle a little bit of salt that represents the sadness, our tears, the sufferings that we do not carry alone. And so you're going to be invited to line up in 2 lines. You don't need to let a big space be between you. You can come forward and place rocks in the vessel. And then, if you will, continue in a, kind of a circular pattern to get back to your seats. That helps the flow. After the line's getting short, I'll carry it to folks who may have any mobility issues, or if you're somewhere not in the front and you have a little bit of a mobility issue, just raise your hand at that point and I'll come around to you and then I'll place those rocks in the vessels for you. And now I want to invite you to do something that we haven't done since I've been here. We're going to share a responsive reading. And I want to invite you just to remain seated where you are, but to read responsively. And the response is a repeated one. It's a refrain. It's a callback. And so if you will, join me in this responsive reading. I'm going to get it put up here. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. For each time our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time our fear has blinded us to the needs of others. For falling short of the call or warnings of the Spirit. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity and the compassion which transforms us. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
We're going to watch a video of Leah Morris singing a song called Lifted in Love. The video, we played it at Vespers on Wednesday, and I thought, well, we'll do it again today. So she'll sing for a while, and then if you want to, you can sing along with her. The words will be on the screens.
We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the birds, they tell us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love, as a flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the sky, it tells us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love. To listen to love as the children raise all their faces to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the seas, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love, as the flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, lifted in grace and love.
So, I believe in churches, in congregations, in communities like this for many reasons, but in the end, it tends to boil down to a couple of essential pieces. Religious community gives us a group of people to be with, to celebrate our greatest joys, our deepest times of sorrow, and to help us become better people week by week in a world that's not always invested in goodness or seeking meaning. So, although every now and then I suspect my husband would probably not agree, being a kind person matters to me. For a very long time, I think I was actually more invested in being a strong person, someone who survives, who can stand up for herself and other people, who isn't easily taken in. But nowadays, kindness is the course that I most want to pursue. And you know, everyone's heard the old saying of choose being kind over being right. How many of you actually can do that regularly? It's really hard, but it's an important and really valuable practice. That one hasn't been my mantra for a long time. In my internship here, actually, Maureen once wrote about me. She said, "She needs to learn to suffer fools more gladly." And she was right back then, right? Not that I might add that she was very good at this. I have to tell you, she wasn't the best. But it has been a lively Unitarian Universalist tradition in its own right to be critical and rational and to resist easy answers. There's a time and place for strength and holding firm. Isn't it funny, though, that we often imagine that in order to be this, we cannot also be that? Richard Carlson, in his classic Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, pointed out that we often imagine that to be, for example, successful or accomplished people, we must always be very busy. And of course, that busyness makes us rushed and distracted. But in fact, the opposite is almost always true. The most successful people usually are successful because they have learned how to manage their time well, often incorporating spiritual practices of centering and meaning finding as an essential part of their lives. I mean, if you do a quick search, if you look at Forbes, Business Week, Business Insider, things like this, you can find immediately article after article about how the most famous and successful business leaders and world leaders actually use spiritual practice, usually meditation, and cite that as the thing that most enables their success. Carlson points out the simple fact that a rushed, busy, and distracted mind is actually not the best tool for accomplishing much of anything, for being able to focus, think clearly, make good choices. All of that actually comes from clarity of mind, from a place of centeredness, not the opposite. Many of these same leaders also now cite the relationships and their ability to hand over power and to be in relationships of mutuality as ways to success. And of course, in just this way, one of course can be a person who is compassionate and deeply kind and still stand up for oneself and for people who need justice. One can even insist on respect and being treated with dignity and worth without denying or depleting the dignity and worth of someone else. I mean, if you say it out loud, it sounds like it's stating the obvious, of course, right? I mean, it's very obvious. And yet, so often in those difficult moments, we get caught up in these dreams of dualism. We forget that we contain multitudes, and we fall into old patterns of behavior, the ones that we've practiced the most. Now, for some, those practices have been long-standing and well-established habits of compassion. People who have patience and kindness as deep muscle memory are my great role models. But how does one practice compassion? How does one practice kindness? Now, of course, there are plenty of those who will tell you that the path to inner peace and all that springs from it is, of course, meditation. I'm not going to tell you that, actually. Instead, I will tell you that meditation is one of the oldest and most well-researched, established, and proven paths to a practice of inner peace and everything that springs from it. However, and this is important, it is not the only path. Quiet walks, intentional relationship practices, like with a partner, lectio divina, deep journaling, dream work, dance, poetry, writing, making music, even making love, can be doors through which we find both vulnerability and strength. We can find meaning and a greater capacity for love and compassion, for connection, for kindness. What you do have to do is begin within. Without intention or awareness, we never change except sometimes through very, very painful suffering or heartbreak. And I think most of us would prefer to practice and become our best selves without the need for the world to break us first. The Reverend Gordon McKeeman, who was one of the luminaries of Universalist ministry, and he was a beloved colleague until his death several years ago, tells us this story. I'm going to share one of his stories. It's called Dead Battery. And this is what he wrote. Our camper van is one of the less active members of the family. It does a great deal of "they also serve who only stand and wait" duty. It's reassuring to see the van there, ready to burst into activity at the turn of its key, admirably alert for a vacation jaunt or a bulky load that would overwhelm our modest sedan. The other day, though, when our constant duty vehicle was absent on errands, I needed to undertake what seemed an urgent mission. So I took to the van and I turned the key. Nothing. Not even a cough. Not a tremor, not a flickering light, nothing. My routine and instantaneous diagnosis, a dead battery. Now, the battery was 5 years old, and it had probably died a slow death because of prolonged inactivity, aided by the subtle and gradual drain of an unturned-off radio. Now, once the local AAA service came and jolted the engine into unaccustomed action, a new battery was obtained and installed, and the faithful van was rehabilitated for further action-ready, patient waiting. It occurred to me that sometimes we leave our religions sitting idly in the corners of our lives, awaiting some emergency, a crisis, an accident, or an untoward happening. Day by day, however, the depredations of our time have drained away our religion's power. Comes a crisis, we leap to our religion and turn the key. Not a whimper, a cough, or a shudder. No light flickers, nothing. Then we are reminded that a little preventative maintenance might have kept our faith energized for a time just such as this. That's one of the reasons that even a simple daily devotional practice and regular attendance at communal worship needs to be part of our ordinary routine. It keeps one's religion in working order. He says more, and you can read more in Out of the Ordinary, which is his book of meditations by Gordon McKeeman. That's it, right? I mean, we often neglect growth and practice until or unless the demands of life insist on it. But what if we rose up every day with a great commitment in our hearts to practice kindness, to be agents of compassion, to begin again in love? Now again, if you're like me, the first response that rises up might be, but we have to get out there. We got to fight injustice. We need to stand up to the powers and principalities of a broken and brutal world. And all of that is absolutely true. But when we have a heart of compassion, now some of you may remember the story, the heart of compassion, we are better able to do that work. As we commit to collective liberation, we see other people not as members of one side, demonized, but human beings who have their own inherent worth and dignity, who want to be understood and heard, just as we long to be heard and understood. And if we show up, ready to serve and be kind, we may make friends of any enemy and thus be better able to work together and compromise for a better world. Now, I doubt that there's anyone here today who would say, look, I don't want to become a better listener. I don't want to be kind and compassionate. I prefer being clever to being kind. Maybe some of you, I don't know. I want to judge others and fall victim again and again to the fundamental attributional error, because I know why I do things. I always have good reasons. But other people, they're just jerks. Now, if there is someone here thinking that, then admittedly this sermon is not for you, and some meditation on our you values might be helpful. But for the rest of us, if we practice to open our hearts, we might hear the lesson of Anne Sexton, whose poem Welcome Morning holds a not-so-secret key. This is called Welcome Morning. There is a joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, "Hello there, Anne," each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver, my plate, my cup upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea green house, each morning. And I mean, though I often forget, to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young. The beginning of a new year, a new hour, a new minute is our opportunity to pause, to be open, to open these doors of our heart through gratitude, to be kind and become kinder, or to practice those qualities which we love in others and long to deepen in ourselves. We have so many chances to be reborn, to make the world a little softer, to begin again in love. So let us hurry to make a start. Amen, Ashe, blessed be. And for those of you who have been wondering, because some of you have asked, the word Ashe is an African word that, like all of those words I say at the end, means amen, just so you know. But I want to invite you now, will you join me in singing Come and Go With Me? We're going to sing together, hopefully joyfully. Rise to the peak of your physical or spiritual stature. Let's sing together. All right. So this is my first time ever doing this part. We'll see how it goes. The first thing that we would love to do is to just check in and see. We always have visitors with us, and many of them feel comfortable. We hope you might. Standing up, introducing yourselves, maybe telling us where you're visiting from, bringing greetings if you're coming from another congregation. We have folks with microphones into which you should speak directly so we could hear you, but we'd love to welcome you if you're willing to say hello this morning. We got one over here.
Hey there, good morning. My name's Andrea Hayes. I've been living in Asheville for 2 years. I'm a transplant from Florida, much like I think a lot of others. I had a serious battle last year with cancer and I won. And that rocked my world. No one ever expects that, but it rocked my world. And I've always been someone spiritual. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. So I've come from an intense background, and but every single time something comes for me, I just seek deeper inside and try to center myself. And even most recently, I've come against another battle, and so here I am to enjoy your message. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Lex Veazey. I moved here about 6 years ago. I'm a retired attorney. I'm still a member of an Episcopal church in Charleston, South Carolina, where I used to live part-time. But I feel very comfortable here.
Can you raise the microphone? We can't quite hear you. Thanks.
I feel very comfortable here. I only live a few blocks away from here.
Wonderful.
And I'm just happy to be around people.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Emma, and these are my two grandgirls, Alex and Savannah. And we lived in Asheville for a long time and went to Jubilee for years and years and years. So now I'm looking for somewhere else to celebrate together with. Thanks.
Welcome. Anyone else? If not, we just want to make sure. Oh, wait, we've got someone down front. Here we go.
Good morning. My name is Sunshine. I'm not a first-time visitor. I've been here maybe 6 times, but I was in a UU congregation in Williamsburg, Virginia for over 20 years, and I moved here about 5 years ago and knew UU would be a home, but I just visited on the outskirts, and then I went on a hike with the hiking group. Then I joined a Soul Matters group, and finally got myself out here for another service, and this feels like home again. Thank you.
Welcome home. Yeah, wonderful. So if you are coming to coffee hour, which we hope you will, if you've been here before, if you're especially longtime members and friends of the congregation, don't forget, say hello to someone you haven't met yet. Remember the rule of 3, you want to talk to at least 3 people maybe you don't know well. That always helps us create such a welcoming and inclusive community. So we thank you for doing that, and welcome to everyone. For those of you who were here at the beginning of the service, you may have seen our announcements always run before the service. We have slides for those, but those same announcements, if you missed them, they're always in our Thursday weekly email. Now, I'm going to do temperature checks all the time. How many of you read faithfully our Thursday weekly email? It's really important, and don't forget to click on those 3 dots, because there's often more than is seen, and it's a long thing. I know it's long, but it's so full of amazing things. It's the way you might find about the hiking group, about Soul Matters groups, about things happening in the community partners that we have. So if you are not already receiving those, you can get in touch with us at information@uuasheville.org or ask one of our ushers how to sign up. And this morning, there is our community plate. It's the beginning of the month. We've switched over our community plate partner. And today, that partner is the UU Asheville Hetland Scholarship, which honors longtime educator UU Mel Hetland, while also supporting a particular local student's education. Now, this scholarship is one-time or renewing. It's a grant between $1,000 and $4,000 to a student who identifies as belonging as a member of the global majority and will attend an accredited 2- or 4-year college or university, someone who has a history of community service. And preference is given to folks who are the first in their family to attend college. I want to mention, there's a note here that says an anonymous donor will match up to $2,000 of our donations. So if you can, please give generously today. There's going to be more information in Sandberg Hall, but I want to invite, when I find the full thing that I've written down, Ariel, and what's your last name, Ariel? Because I don't, Jacobson, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the scholarship. Come on up.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. This is wonderful. My name is Ariel Jacobson. I work for an organization called Asheville City Schools Foundation. Yes, raise your hand. I hear some clapping. If you've heard of us before, we are an organization that's been around for over 30 years now, and we work to make sure that we do whatever it takes to ensure that all Asheville City Schools students have an opportunity to thrive. And when I think about the essence of that mission statement of what this organization stands for, I think the UU Asheville Hetland Scholarship is a prime example of how communities and collectives can come together to really make huge impact. Last year, you gave $5,000 towards a student's education. Her name is Amira. She's the first person in her family to go to college. She's currently working on a video to show all of you guys in your, I think, Thursday weekly newsletter. Yeah, where she's going to give you an update about just how she is thriving and how grateful she is. So every year when I get to do this, it is such a treat, and I will be out answering any questions, giving more information about this after the service. So thank you all for all you do, and I'm just really grateful to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. For the gifts of your faith and wisdom, your attention and presence, your time and resources, we are deeply grateful. You are how this congregation happens.
A little syncopated Beethoven.
And now we come to the end of our service, but not our service to the world. And we're going to do, as we always do, we're going to share a few words of benediction, then we're going to sing together our song, Long Time Son. So why don't we all rise so we're ready to do that, and we'll hear these words that are adapted from Sarum Primer. Love be in my mind and in my understanding. Love be in my eyes and in my seeing. Love be in my mouth and in my speaking. Love be in my heart and in my feeling. Love be with me in every greeting and at every parting. Now let us sing.